anyone who blocks my path.
The blood that flows through her veins is special, and extremely dangerous. If showing pity would put my allies in danger, I will not hesitate to kill them.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Let's Play Fire Emblem Three Houses. Normally I kind of go down the gambit and go all around, but they're all Dimitri, so I'm just going to go down Dimitri. Well, actually I'll go up Dimitri, because Felix is kind of the last one I want to see, because it promises to be the most interesting. So, we'll start down here. Oh, these are kind of lame ones, but oh well. Let's get them out of the way first so we don't end on lame.
Hey there. At it again, are we? It feels like I see you training here every day.
It's my daily routine. I'm ill at ease until I've held a weapon in my grasp.
It's so weird, because that is definitely his, like, 5 years ago voice, but they're using this icon.
You said the same thing when you were little.
Right you are. I've been meaning to come and talk to you properly for a while now.
I was about to say the same thing. How long has it been? A decade? More? That was in Ferdiad, as I recall.
Well, if it was over a decade 5 years ago, it's definitely more now.
You were just a little pipsqueak. You really have grown up, haven't you?
I remember those times well. Particularly your first words to me. Look at that young maiden wielding a giant lance. How adorable.
That definitely does sound like something you should say.
Oh, don't look at me like that. I was thrown off by your haircut, that's all.
It's all water under the bridge. Now, back then I was quite furious about it.
It's actually funny. I had a person up at work that got fired because she kept jokingly referring to a guy as a girl, and she had a lot of other problems too, but yeah, HR was like, yeah, that's harassment. You can't do that. So don't do that, people.
My father did give me a stern reprimand for speaking so rudely to a prince. But then, I never had a chance to apologize.
Why not? You should apologize.
I was always getting into trouble back then, just like the incident in Dusker.
Speaking of, do you ever think about going back to House Karen? Do you, Cassandra?
It's interesting. He's one of the few people that actually knows where she came from.
No, I'm happy with the life I have. No offense, Your Highness, but I don't fight for king and country anymore. I fight for Lady Rhea.
I really don't think I'll take offense to that.
It doesn't bother you? Being labeled a criminal?
Oh, interesting. So it was House Duskar, it's the Duskar incident that made her get labeled a criminal even though she didn't do anything wrong.
You're worried about my life as a fugitive from the Holy Kingdom of Fargus. Don't worry about me. I'm here because I want to be. It suits me far better than the life I'd otherwise lead, as a noble lady of the kingdom.
It'd be interesting if these two end up together at the end of the game, although I don't think there's any possibility for it. I can't get through all of their links before then. There's no way.
Is that so?
And that unfortunately means we'll never get to see how their relationship ends up, because Dimitri is one of the three characters we've really got to focus on, because we don't get access to him in other playthroughs. The three characters are Dimitri, Dedue, and I'm pretty sure Gilbert.
How about you? You've never wanted to roam free? To enjoy life as an ordinary knight, unshackled from all those princely obligations.
We kind of did that, actually.
I can't say the thought has never crossed my mind. However, I am the son of a king. It's not possible for me to put my own desires before the good of the kingdom.
It certainly will be later.
Nah, you're too serious for your own good. How'd you become such a stiff?
Don't worry, I've been working on that. Stretching is a part of my
God
daily
damn it,
routine.
Dimitri.
If you can joke about it, there's hope for you yet.
And Dimitri's like, wait, joke? What? I wasn't joking. Alright, and the Gilbert C rank, which again, there's no way we're getting through all of these. Impossible.
Gustav, it has been 8 years since I last called you by that name.
Your Highness, I must deeply apologize for leaving the kingdom without permission. I was...
Again, it's actually been 13 years. You should really keep up with, where we are on the timeline.
There is no need to explain, old friend. I can guess at your reasons. The tragedy of Dusker. You felt responsible for that incident and sought respite in the goddess, abandoning your name, rank, and homeland in repentance. Am I right?
I mean, that certainly seems like what happened, yeah.
I have no excuses to offer. It was all I could think to do.
Again, he's not asking for excuses. It's not even a bad idea.
I always knew you for a pious man, and I figured that if you were to leave, this is where you would end up. You have changed much. Your face does not have the same resolve it once did.
If I may, Your Highness, you have changed as well.
I can't disagree.
Again, extra so in, this one.
It was my duty to protect His Majesty, your father. Naturally, that also included Lady Patricia and yourself as well.
My father and mother are gone. No amount of regret will bring them back.
My dreams are haunted by the thought that, had I arrived at Duscur more swiftly...
You saved my life at Duscur. I have
Okay.
only gratitude for you, no blame to speak of.
We finally understand how he survived when the royal family was killed, because there's no way he fought off the invading army.
I wish for you to remain in the kingdom, Gustav, even after this conflict is over. I need your strength to help rebuild the ravaged land that Fargus has become.
Please, I beg your forgiveness. But there is no place left for me in that land.
Well, I've got bad news for you, Gilbert. I guess we're going there.
I see. Though much has changed, your stubbornness remains. I have no desire to trouble you. If you do not wish to return, that is your choice to make. But I do advise you to at least visit the place of your birth, if only for your family's sake.
Yes, Your Highness. Thank you. I appreciate your concern.
All right. One more, and then we're up to the A-rank conversations. And the A-ranks are always a lot better than these. Not that those were, terrible, and I'm super upset about them, but...
Marianne?
Wow, they actually have a kneeling pose for her. Usually this game is super lazy when it comes to posing characters.
Oh, yes?
May I sit here? There isn't another open spot.
There's nobody else here.
You may.
I'm sorry. I should have eaten in my quarters. I know you asked me to stay away from you.
What the? We can see empty chairs in the background.
No, it's fine. About the other day, when you said you didn't regret risking your own life.
I apologize for whatever foolish thing I said to upset you, truly. But may I ask what happened?
It's just... there is only misfortune for anyone who comes near me.
Why the hell would they start this scene saying there's not any other open spot and then use this as the background? I'm sorry, I'm like, what the hell? Do you think I'm stupid?
Misfortune?
I'm afraid so. Especially those with complete disregard for their own safety.
Ah, so I didn't offend you. You're trying to tell me I should be more concerned for my own safety. Well, I suppose I could improve in that regard. As for you causing misfortune, I think that's far from the truth. In fact, I find you to be a lucky charm of sorts.
I really wish I could have you in my army instead of Mercedes. I mean, I know I could, but I do want to get through Mercedes's links and get to know more about her, but Marianne is definitely my healing go-to in this game. She beats out Flame, she beats out Mercedes for me so far. We'll see if anyone from Black Eagles can overtake her.
Me? Lucky? I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that at all. My entire life up until this point has been nothing but a string of unfortunate events.
But misfortune finds us all. Perhaps those around you have suffered or even perished. But look at you. You're still here, alive and well.
I wouldn't say well, necessarily.
That's...
It doesn't feel good, does it? To be the one left behind? You feel guilt for not dying along with the others.
How did you know?
Well, if you'd been paying attention to his social links so far...
You and I are the same. Maybe you should fear being cursed with misfortune for coming near me. A smile and a laugh. Coming from you, that's a rarity. This must be my lucky day.
I just find the idea amusing. It's strange to think that someone like you could have anything in common with me.
Is it so terrible a thought?
She said strange, not terrible.
No, it's not that. It actually makes me happy. As though there's finally someone who understands how I truly feel.
Well, yeah, Dimitri is somewhat understanding. Alright. So, oh wow, rank S. I had not actually noticed that was their rank S conversation.
Finally, you score a point against me on the ground. You have improved, Ingrid.
That's an interesting little, like, nod to the fact that she should be airborne all the time.
That was nothing more than a fluke. My technique was horribly sloppy that last round.
It does not matter what sort of technique it was. You won. If this had been a real battle, I would be dead. You wielded your lance well, without any hesitation. Has your approach changed?
You may recall when I said I'm now able to move on. Because of you.
Not really, that was a long time ago. Please remind me.
I remember. What did you mean by it?
That I finally understand the truth about Glenn.
Oh, okay, that. Now I do remember, yes.
It sounds as though he died with a heavy heart. A heart that carried regret. I had suspected as much. But instead of acknowledging it, I twisted my memory of him to fit an ideal I've been upholding.
I see.
Your Highness, I will not sacrifice my life for anyone.
Good.
But perhaps instead, I can live my life for someone. I will pledge my life to you.
And how exactly am I meant to interpret that?
However you please, Your Highness.
Interesting, very dodgy.
Oh? Well then. Ingrid, when this is all over, I want you to support and defend me. As my knight. I have been thinking of telling you this for a long time. We get along well, you and I.
We certainly do. You certainly do.
As your knight. Yes, of course. Of course I will. I intended to do so for the sake of the kingdom.
Guys, just come out and say it.
Together, Your Highness. You and I. Our first order of business. Putting this tragic war to an end.
Yes. And while we're at it, do not die on me, Ingrid. Promise me that.
Yes, Your Highness. I swear it on my land.
She'll have a very easy time living up to that promise after this is not, since this is not hardcore. I do have to say, and I think I said this before, we're definitely doing hardcore from here on out. Not maddening hardcore, there's no effing way, but hardcore at least. Alright. Annette, one of the few ones that's not going to be completely done. Because, like, down here there's a lot that we could finish up, and we'll probably focus on, I guess, Marianne. Because Eloise won't do it, Gilbert won't make it. It's either Marianne or Flayn. And I don't really care about either of them, to be honest. Flayn hasn't, like, really impressed me so far, but I do hope Annette gets her second rank
Your
A.
Highness, I have one more favor to ask.
Is this about Gustav again? I have plenty more stories about him, but perhaps it is time for you to speak with him yourself.
I'm really glad Dimitri said that.
Oh, it's not about Father this time. This time I wanted to ask about you.
About me?
I mean, I heard all about Father last time, but I didn't ask about you.
Ah, well, I'm afraid there is not much of interest for me to tell
Oh,
you.
sure there are. Don't make me ask Gustav.
Oh, it doesn't have to be funny or interesting. That's not why I'm asking. It's just that I thought I already knew you, but I'm not sure I really do. That day when we were reunited at the monastery, I didn't know what to say to you. So I wanted to prepare some of your favorite food.
But you don't know what it is.
I thought maybe if you ate something that you liked, you'd cheer up a little. But when I got to the kitchen, I realized I didn't even know what you like to eat.
I see. Well, it's a little hard to say what my favorite is. I just don't really have any strong feelings about food.
I was the same way for a long time. I do have things I enjoy, but I don't really have a favorite food. For the most part, it's like I eat because I will get a migraine if I don't eat.
That said, you're pretty keen on sweet things, right, Annette?
Yes, that's right. I'm at my happiest when I'm digging into a sweet treat. Oh, did you know there's a famous sweets shop in the capital?
I'm sure he did.
Yes. It often had long lines outside, didn't it? The castle guards often spoke of it.
The sweets were so good. They cost a fortune, but I loved them. When Father was still around, we all lived as a family in the capital. Since then, I've had them only a few times. How I'd love to taste them again.
Well, we're going to the capital. If it's still there, we'll get some.
Say, Annette, when this war is over, where will you go? I heard that you were close to Baron Dominic back in the academy days.
That's right. But that's not where I think I'd like to go when all of this is over. I reconnected with Father, so I'd like to live with my family again, in the capital. Also, if I'm in the capital, I'll be able to see you from time to time, right?
Ah, that settles it then. We'll have to get your father working twice as hard.
Father's at a ripe old age now. I'd appreciate it if you didn't work him too hard.
Oh, of course. I will keep that in mind.
All right, and the one I've been waiting for. How do these two end up?
I have a question for you. Answer quickly before my hand slips and I cut you in half.
Felix, at this point, he can definitely take you in a fight.
Always so ominous. Well, what is it, Felix?
Sometimes you have an animal's face, contorted with anger and bloodlust. At other times, a man's with a friendly smile. Which is your true face?
Do not waste your breath on questions with such obvious answers. They are both the real
I like how dismissive he is. He's like, please don't waste our time.
My father, my friends, Glenn. They all meant a great deal to me. And they were all brutally slaughtered. I alone survived. If I do not shoulder the anguish and regret they must have felt, who will?
So that's how you justify your atrocities.
What do you mean?
I will fulfill my duty to the late king. My old man used to say that over and over like a mantra. How nauseating. No one seems to understand.
Well, it might be because you never actually bothered to explain anything.
The dead won't acknowledge your loyalty. They don't care. What a load of bunk it is, pretending to serve a corpse. You're serving your own ego.
You are wrong.
No, I'm not. The dead are dead. The living are living. You have to respect that boundary. If you keep stringing gravestones around your neck, you'll snap.
That is a really good... I wish he had said this before. Like, it would be awesome if this is what woke him up, not some, like, randomly forced death.
Even still, I cannot forget them, nor can I let them go.
Then keep those thoughts to yourself. If you're too weak to do that, abandon your throne. Become a gravekeeper.
Felix.
I'm not immune to emotion, you know. Far from it.
You definitely act otherwise.
I haven't gone a day without questioning why my father and brother had to die, while I survived. I'll bear this pain until the day I die, but I refuse to wallow in it. I have more important things to do than blubber for my whole life.
You know, Felix, you really are growing more and more like your brother. Always so sarcastic and constantly looking for a fight. But deep inside, more than anyone, you...
What are you getting at?
Oh, it's nothing. But allow me to thank you. Your perspective has opened my eyes.
Not my intention.
It still happened, though.
I couldn't stand the pathetic look on your face, that's all.
I see. If you say so, then we will leave it at that.
Not quite the making up I was sort of hoping for, if I am being honest. But not bad, not bad.
Right.
Oh,
So, first of all, Bernadetta and Lysithea are here. Where's Lysithea? Like, obviously I know where Bernadetta is. She's always in the exact same place.
It's always so peaceful coming back here. But it's hard to relax knowing we have to go out on another expedition again so soon.
But this one's to the capital.
And now we're headed to the kingdom? That sounds hard. Oh, really hard. Don't you think?
We'll be
Of course
fine.
you'd say that. Why'd I even ask?
So I don't see Lysithea anywhere. Wait. Lysithea, this is your room?
I'm relieved the prince seems to have finally come to his senses. Though it's a real shame that Lord Rodrigue passed away. It really is. But now, I think we're starting to see a sliver of hope for the future of Fodlan.
Absolutely. It's always interesting to know what the people of other houses say at this moment. Okay. I want to get these back. Harvest. Plant. I definitely want... Like, 0 has the same percent yield as a ton. I don't know why I bother.
Hello.
Here's my thought.
The fish in this pond get fed every day. So they're swimming all lazy and serene. But the only reason they're kept here is so that they can one day be used
Well, yeah,
for food.
that's what...
But the fish don't know that, so they just swim around happily.
What's your point?
It's a bit of a miserable thought. But aren't soldiers much the same?
I mean, yeah, your little job is to die eventually. Not, I mean, I guess not, because it's not like if we win the war, we're just like, okay, execute the soldiers. Their job's done.
Right, right.
Okay, no one on that side. Of course I find you here.
You know when you work your muscles and they start screaming? That means you gotta be nice to them. If your muscles are hungry, you gotta feed them. And let them rest when they're tired. What do you mean, how? You just gotta eat and sleep. It's pretty obvious. What's with the confused face, Professor? You look like you don't get a word I'm saying.
I mean, I try not to. Okay, so... I am gonna warp around. I want to try and get to everyone, but I don't want to push into another episode. So I'm hurrying just a bit.
Professor?
Our favorite guy, though, we can't forget him.
Professor, nothing to report.
I'm glad I zoomed in on your crotch. That's helpful.
Ferdiad is a city with a long history that goes back to before Fargus gained its independence. I'd like to visit that place at least once before I die. But I'm afraid I have my own work to attend to. It's hard being so dedicated. Ah, well. I'll go there for some leisurely sightseeing once Fodlan knows peace.
I'm so glad. I don't know whose idea it was to put him in like that, but he really just adds so much heart to the game.
I see. I agree that we should head for Ferdiad. But let's not forget our search for Lady Rhea.
She doesn't matter.
The soldiers from the church are going to set up a base at the Great Bridge of Murden. They'll be able to keep up the search while we head for the kingdom capital.
Good.
The kingdom capital. It's been way too long since I was there last. Oh, Professor, I didn't mean... it's not that I'm looking forward to it.
You can look forward to it. I don't care.
Please don't tease me like that. It's just, when I think of us finally saving everyone in Ferdiad, it makes me a little happy. Okay, maybe a lot happy. The kingdom capital is under the tight control of Cornelia, who was ennobled by the Empire.
Do we ever fight? I remember seeing Cornelia, but I can't remember if we ever actually defeated her in the Golden Deer campaign.
Judging by what we heard from Lord Rodrigue, it sounds like she's a tyrant. But all of that ends soon. Let's get there quickly.
Okay, there. Yeah, Shamir is somewhere. Looks like she's just outside the door here. Yep.
So we're turning around and heading for the kingdom capital? Ridiculous. Tell him to cease this nonsense.
That was actually the right call.
Isn't there a saying in Fodlan? Something about those with power knowing how to use it? If he's not careful, the goddess will send her saints to smite him. Not that I believe that.
Like, I get from a military standpoint the idea of about facing after we've gained so much ground is frustrating, but I very much think the kingdom is the right call. I think we should have gone there from the beginning.
I don't feel like I can just forget all the awful stuff he's done. But if His Highness is owning up to his past and trying to move forward, I figure I can give him that chance.
I'm glad to hear it.
We've been friends since we were kids. I'm gonna be there for him all the way to the end.
Professor, I really caused trouble for you, didn't I?
You caused trouble for everyone.
I am also eternally grateful to you. Now, it's time to go to the kingdom capital. I hope that you will lend me your strength once again.
I do like that term, lend me your strength.
Everyone is saying His Highness is back to his old self, but I do not think that is accurate. What he was until recently is what he had been for as long as I've known him. So tortured by his compassion for the fallen that it had driven him mad. He has always been too kind to be king. He has always felt too much for the weak and the dead. That is exactly why I look up to him.
True.
Oh, I keep forgetting you're part of the army because I never use you.
Dimitri's completely changed. Or maybe I should say he's finally back to normal.
You haven't been talking to Do.
Either way, I'm glad he's come around to the idea of retaking Ferdiad. With our current troops, there's no way we could handle the Imperial capital. We wouldn't even get past Fort Mercius.
Go over and talk to Kaspar.
That's right. Can you believe it, Professor? Dimitri actually apologized to me.
Well, you deserve it.
Remember that awful business between him and my Uncle Randolph? He just came by and said he was sorry for all that. That was behind us as far as I was concerned. But even so, it seems like he's changed for the better.
He's starting to understand how he should be and who he should be. The heck? Hi, cats. No, I already fed you. I want to feed the other ones. Why were you trying to eat a smithing stone? Feed the kitties, feed the kitties.
Hello.
You guys are lucky I don't stop and do this for every single cat in the place every single time.
Guess what I noticed? I can see further than most other people can see. But I can't figure the point of seeing further than an arrow can fly, since I can't shoot what I see. I suppose I could see a whole horde of enemies coming and run away. That's kind of useful, at least. Thanks, Professor. I think I get it now. I'm gonna put my eyes to...
We had this conversation before, unfortunately, which, I mean, makes sense. We had Cyril before.
Hello.
Okay, so next we'll head up towards the chapel because there's someone on the bridge we need to talk to.
Anyway, I was born and raised in Fargus, but I've never actually been to Ferdiad.
That's surprising.
Do you think it'll still be cold at this time of year? I can't even imagine.
Yeah,
Good point. I'll check with
I was
His
like, I
Highness.
haven't been to Ferdiad either, as far as I know. So I'm definitely not the one to ask. Okay, so there's someone in here.
Hey, you.
Looks like a plane.
Standing face to face with those whom I went to school with. On the field of
You
battle.
weren't even there.
How inhuman war is. How horrifying. My heart feels shattered. It is my hope that this war marks the end of such foolish behavior.
I mean, that's all of our hopes. No one likes attacking people they knew. No.
So many people died in the battle at Gronder. And here we are, preparing for the next battle as if nothing happened the day before. It's almost easier to think about war as theater, with the stage an entire continent.
To be fair, very few people of import died at Gronder because I had recruited them all.
Something like that. If an accident happens on stage, the next day's performance must be unaffected. Everyone just pretends like everything is fine, focusing on their role in the play.
Alright. Felix and Marianne are up on the second floor. We'll go check in on them. That's interesting. Last time I talked to her in the previous playthrough, I picked the other one, and that one has a much better
I
answer.
never used to care whether I lived or died.
I'm glad you got over it.
But after seeing so much death firsthand, I now realize how precious life truly is. I'm ashamed of how arrogant I was to think that death could mean so little.
Alright, and Caspar, of course, is going to be on the as far away from Marianne as he can get. Not Caspar, Felix. Come on, man. Why it gotta be all the way up here?
He'll need to excel as a leader if he's to make up for my old man's death. Though if my father could see Dimitri now, he'd be glad to have made the sacrifice.
That's very true, actually.
Don't you dare tell anyone I said that.
You're not Hanneman. There he is. I'm like, where's the old coat?
What of this? There's a school of sorcery in Ferdiad, which is staffed by the top minds of magical research. The study of crests and sorcery should not be separate.
Yeah, they should.
I've often thought I should pay them a visit someday. I never imagined I might end up invading the place with an army, though. Not how I imagined it at all.
Just goes to show you that you need more imagination and less research. When I started this game, I didn't know that Ferdiad was the capital, but if someone told me about the capital of the Empire, I'd be like, yeah, if we go there, it's going to be an invasion.
Hey, you!
I would have predicted it.
There's something else. It seems we will soon set foot in Ferdiad. I used to live there, you know, though that was before my time in the Officers' Academy.
Really? Ferdiad?
No, of course not. There is a school of magic there, which I was enrolled in for a time. Trouble within the kingdom forced me to return to Alliance lands. There was much I had yet to learn.
I was gonna say, yeah, because you're very high nobility in the Alliance.
The battle at Gronder Field was gruesome, wasn't it? But perhaps it's irresponsible to look away. To close our eyes to the horrors of war. As survivors, we must ensure that all these lives were not lost in vain. We must see the tragic foundations upon which we'll build our future. May an age of peace rise from the ashes, so that all this sacrifice means something.
It's really nice of you to think. I'm sure it helps you with the prospect of your own death.
Edelgard, Claude, His Highness, all the house leaders from way back when, assembled again at Gronder.
I know, but Claude had no reason to be there.
I wonder what their thoughts were as they headed out to the battlefield.
There it is. I'm like, there should be a quest somewhere.
I am very grateful to you. I could never have achieved this on my own. It is all thanks to you and Lord Rodrigue. This month, we will invade Ferdiad by way of the Faldarius domain. Leave the negotiations with House Faldarius to me. You make ready for the actual battle. It's a tricky business, but we are taking our first steps forward. I have a request. This month, leave the
The Emperor was wounded at Gronder Field. What do you think is going on in the Empire now? The Leicester Alliance has really suffered a blow as well. Who knows what will become of them? From now on, we have to pay close attention to how the rest of Fodlan is doing.
We certainly do. I am curious what happened. That's a good point, because after Dimitri fell at Gronder, like, the kingdom just sort of, like, fully collapsed as far as the story is. We never paid attention to the kingdom again. I wonder if the Leicester Alliance is going to actually have any further role in the story, or will you just kind of ignore them the whole time?
Fighting with 3 different groups in the mix was as confusing as it was difficult to survive. Enemies and allies dying, one on top of the other. What an absolute mess, huh? If only I had my infirmary out in Gronder. Maybe I could have saved a few more lives.
Alright, Catherine.
If we're headed to the kingdom capital, that means we're further away from rescuing Lady Rhea.
We don't actually know where she is.
But it can't be helped, can it? Perhaps some people will question this decision, but I trust your judgment. Lady Rhea would want us to help in Ferdiad. She'd scold us if we rescued her and left innocent people suffering.
You don't care, do you? You still want to do it if you could. Okay, one more. This is probably Cetis, or Setith. Yep.
It seems we are headed for the kingdom capital this month. The Church of Seros stands ready to lend its aid to you and Dimitri.
Thank you.
It may be a roundabout route, but I believe this path will still eventually take us to Rhea. Besides, saving the people of Fargus is just what she would want us to do.
Okay, so I need to get a flower for Mr. Man. And that will do it. Be it for the episode. We did a pretty good job. We actually got to talking to everyone that we needed to talk to. Open the door.
Hello.
And we didn't really, I mean, we're a little bit over 30 minutes, but not enough that I actually am concerned about it. I think we got a lot of stuff into this episode. When we come back next time, we will definitely be at the end of the month and moving to the kingdom, which I'm actually super excited about, because that is a battle I hope I haven't seen before. I'm really worried they're going to reuse the fortress at Gondor or whatever.
This month, leave the names a tricky.
Crap, what did I just pick up? That one.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The last thing I want to know, actually, can I finish my renown? Have I gotten enough renown to get the last little bit? Because most, I don't think I usually show this, but we've definitely been dropping a lot of renown up here, and, like, a lot of these guys are completely done.
Need something?
Yeah, this is the only one left, and it needs 2,500 for this last little bit. We are 600 away from finishing it. Anyway, I will see you next time. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone.